Welcome to a profound exploration of history and faith. Today, we journey back thousands of years into the heart of the Kingdom of Judah. We will witness the magnificent rise of Solomon, the tragic division of a nation, and the ultimate restoration of a people. This is the story of the second book of Chronicles, a narrative of kings, prophets, and the enduring search for the divine presence. Let us step into the corridors of time together. Our story begins with Solomon, the son of David, whose reign marked the zenith of Israel's power and spiritual influence. When offered anything he desired by the Almighty, Solomon did not seek gold or longevity. Instead, he requested the wisdom to lead his people with justice and understanding. This selfless choice became the foundation of an era of unprecedented prosperity and enlightenment. The defining mission of Solomon's life was the construction of a permanent dwelling for the divine presence in Jerusalem. It was a project of immense scale, involving thousands of craftsmen and the finest materials from across the known world. Every stone and every beam was prepared with meticulous precision to ensure the holiness of the structure. Inside the most holy place, the walls were covered in talents of fine gold, reflecting the light of 1,000 lamps. The craftsmanship was beyond compare, featuring intricate carvings of palm trees and open flowers. It was a physical manifestation of heaven on earth, a place where the sacred and the mundane converged. When the construction was complete, the entire nation gathered for a dedication ceremony that would echo through history. Thousands of sacrifices were offered, and the air was thick with the scent of incense and the sound of trumpets. It was a moment of national unity and spiritual peak that had never been seen before. As the musicians and singers unified in a single voice of praise, the glory of the Lord filled the house in the form of a dense cloud. The presence was so overwhelming that the priests could not stand to perform their services. Fire fell from heaven, consuming the sacrifices and sealing the divine approval of the sanctuary. Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel for 40 years before he rested with his ancestors. He left behind a legacy of wisdom and a magnificent temple that stood as the heartbeat of the nation. However, beneath the surface of this golden age, the seeds of future conflict were already being sown. Upon Solomon's death, his son Rehoboam ascended the throne, but his harsh policies quickly triggered a massive rebellion. 10 tribes broke away to form the northern kingdom of Israel, leaving only Judah and Benjamin loyal to the Davidic line. The once united nation was now fractured, setting the stage for centuries of political and spiritual tension. The history of the southern kingdom became a constant struggle between faithfulness and the allure of foreign idols. Periodically, great reformers would arise to lead the people back to the covenant, but these periods were often followed by seasons of spiritual decay. The pendulum of Judah's heart swung between the temple and the high places. King Asa was one of the first great reformers, taking bold steps to remove foreign altars and high places from the land. He even deposed his own grandmother from her position because she had made an obscene image for an Asherah pole. His heart was fully committed to the Lord throughout his early years, bringing peace to the kingdom. One of the most remarkable military victories in Judah's history occurred under King Jehoshaphat. Facing a massive coalition of enemies, he did not rely on traditional tactics. Instead, he appointed a choir to lead the army, singing praises to the beauty of holiness. As they sang, their enemies were thrown into confusion and defeated. Darker times arrived with Queen Athaliah, who attempted to destroy the entire royal line of David to secure her own power. Her reign was a period of tyranny and spiritual darkness, yet a single infant prince named Joash was hidden away in the temple, preserving the hope of the Davidic covenant. When Joash was finally revealed as king, he initiated a widespread effort to repair and restore the temple, which had been neglected. He established a collection system that allowed the people to contribute directly to the restoration work. The sound of hammers and chisels once again filled the sacred precincts, signaling a spiritual renewal. King Uzziah brought great military strength and technological advancement to Judah, but his success eventually led to pride. He attempted to enter the temple to burn incense, a task reserved strictly for the priests. For this act of presumption, he was struck with leprosy in the very presence of the Lord, spending his remaining years in isolation. When Hezekiah became king, he immediately reopened the doors of the temple, which had been shut by his predecessor. He organized a massive 16-day cleansing operation to remove all traces of idolatry and ritual impurity from the sanctuary. It was a comprehensive effort to reset the spiritual heart of the nation. Hezekiah invited the remnants of the northern kingdom to join Judah for a monumental Passover celebration. The response was overwhelming, and the joy in Jerusalem was so great that the people decided to extend the festival for another 7 days. It was a rare moment of unity and devotion that recalled the days of the united monarchy. Judah's faith was put to the ultimate test when the powerful Assyrian Empire, led by Sennacherib, besieged Jerusalem. The situation seemed hopeless as the enemy mocked the God of Judah and demanded unconditional surrender. Hezekiah and the prophet Isaiah cried out in prayer, seeking divine intervention for their survival. In a single night, the threat was neutralized as a divine messenger struck the Assyrian camp. Sennacherib was forced to retreat in shame, and Jerusalem was spared from destruction. This miraculous deliverance served as a powerful testament to the protection afforded to those who placed their trust in the divine promise. Manasseh followed Hezekiah with the longest and most wicked reign in Judah's history, filling Jerusalem with idols and innocent blood. However, the book of Chronicles records a unique turning point. After being captured and taken to Babylon in chains, he humbled himself and prayed. In an extraordinary act of mercy, he was restored to his throne and spent his final years reforming the land. Josiah began his reign at the tender age of 8, but by his 16th year, he started to seek the God of his ancestor David. He initiated a thorough purge of idols across the entire land, including the former territories of the northern kingdom. His commitment to restoration set the stage for one of the greatest spiritual rediscoveries in history. During repairs to the temple, Hilkiah the high priest discovered a long-lost copy of the Book of the Law. When it was read before the king, Josiah tore his clothes in grief, realizing how far the nation had strayed from the divine commands. This discovery led to a national covenant renewal and a profound transformation of the society. Despite the reforms of Josiah, the spiritual rot in the hearts of the people had become too deep. After his death, a series of weak and wicked kings led Judah into its final spiral toward destruction. The warnings of the prophets went unheeded as the nation's leadership turned away from their only true source of strength. The end came when Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon brought his vast armies against Jerusalem for the final time. The city was surrounded, food supplies were exhausted, and the walls were eventually breached. It was a scene of utter devastation as the pride of Judah was brought low by the consequences of their persistent rebellion. The crowning tragedy was the destruction of the temple itself. The magnificent structure that Solomon had built with such care was stripped of its gold and burned to the ground. The sacred vessels were carried away to Babylon, and the divine presence seemed to have departed from the land entirely. The survivors were led away into exile, leaving the land of Judah desolate and silent for 70 years. This period served as a Sabbath rest for the land, a time of reflection and mourning for a people who had lost everything. Yet, even in the depths of Babylon, the hope of the Davidic promise remained alive in the hearts of the faithful. The story of Chronicles does not end in despair, but with a remarkable pivot toward restoration. In the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a royal edict was issued across the entire empire. Cyrus credited the God of heaven for his successes and commanded the people of Judah to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. The final sentence of the book is a call to action. Whoever is among you of all his people, may the Lord his God be with him, and let him go up. This invitation marked the beginning of a new chapter in history as the exiles returned to reclaim their identity and their sacred heritage in the land of their ancestors. The centuries covered in the second book of Chronicles are more than just a list of kings and battles. They represent the soul of a nation in constant dialogue with its destiny. We see the patterns of human nature repeated across generations, the heights of spiritual fervor and the depths of moral failure. Each king's story serves as a lesson in the consequences of choice and the power of leadership. The architecture of the temple, the intricate laws of worship, and the passionate cries of the prophets all point to a singular focus: the presence of the divine in the midst of the community. Even when the walls fell and the fires burned, the narrative reminds us that the promise was never truly broken. The exile was a refining fire, preparing the people for a return that would be grounded in a deeper understanding of their covenant. As we look back on these ancient events, we find mirrors of our own struggles and aspirations. The journey from Solomon's gold to the dust of Babylon, and finally to the hope of restoration, is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring nature of faith. The chronicler reminds us that history is not a series of random occurrences, but a purposeful unfolding of a grander design. Every stone laid in the reconstruction of Jerusalem was a brick in the foundation of a future that would eventually touch the entire world. This story continues to resonate today, challenging us to consider our own legacy and the values we choose to build our lives upon. We are all participants in this ongoing chronicle of history. We have reached the end of our journey through the second book of Chronicles. From the heights of Solomon's wisdom to the profound hope of the restoration, we have seen the enduring power of faith across centuries. I hope this immersive exploration has brought the history of the Kingdom of Judah to life for you. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into one of the most significant narratives of the ancient world. May the lessons of the past inspire your path in the present. Farewell.